Hello, everybody. Louise Eddington, Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, back with another look at another big aspect that we have coming up. I'm trying to get these videos done well ahead because we have some major things. Yesterday, I looked at the Mars-Pluto opposition. You can find that video on my timeline because that's hugely significant. And I tied that in right to the very beginnings of what became the United States. But of course, it does impact everybody. And here we have another aspect that is going to affect everybody in a big way, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to share a slide from a video that I did quite some time ago called Fools and Lovers. If you want to watch it, you can search in my videos, or I'll link to it if I can in the end cards and things in this video. But in Fools and Lovers, I did that with Dawn Hild, one of my clients' friends, another astrologer, and we looked at a lot of conjunctions and that had occurred at 0 Aquarius. We also looked at 6 Aquarius, by the way, on that. So going right back till the end of March 2020, we've had some big conjunctions at 0 Aquarius. Mars-Saturn conjunction, then the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which was the great mutation into having great conjunctions in air signs, okay, for the next 200 years. Then on March the 6th, 2022, we had a Venus-Mars conjunction. Then on January the 20th, 2024, just started this year, the Aquarius Sun and Pluto ingressed on the same day into Aquarius. Then Pluto has moved back into Capricorn again. Then on February the 5th, we had Mercury Pluto, then February the 14th, Mars Pluto, then February the 17th, Venus Pluto. But I've been eyeing this triple conjunction that we've got coming up on December the 7th, 2024, at 0 Aquarius. They're not all exactly conjunct, but they're all at the same degree of Venus, Ceres, and Pluto. Now, I'm going to stop the share for a minute because I've been working with Venus for a long time. Most of you know I do my Venus retrograde class. The next one will be coming up in starting in February 2025. And I work with the Venus Star Point as well. I'm certified with Ariel Gutman's Venus Star Point work. And Venus is a really important planet in my chart, so she speaks to me. Well, so is Ceres. And Ceres is conjunct my ascendant. And if I ever get around to it, I'm writing a book about Ceres. So I'm not going to give you everything I want to write about in that book. But Ceres is about nurturing and nourishment and what feeds us and our needs, both met and unmet. And then Pluto. Pluto is, I feel Pluto is feminine in nature. I feel that Pluto is about our deepest soul's desires, at really kind of the root chakra, the underworld, that kind of energy, if you like. Based on the astrology, this is not based on Greek myths. And so Venus, I've been working in my Venus retrograde class so long with all myths, and the Demeter Persephone Hades myth came to kind of really work for me for the Venus retrograde. And then I was working with Venus and Ceres and Pluto. And in some ways, I feel Venus is maiden, Ceres is mother, Pluto is crone. And I feel, but not only that, it's not really about the feminine, just the feminine. It's about the three parts of us, mind, body, spirit as well. So you could say that Venus is more the mind, more kind of immediate, and Ceres is the heart, and then the soul is Pluto. But also, I work shamanically, and I think Pluto is the underworld, which is our lower chakras. And Venus is kind of the middle world. Venus is, you know, in the shamanic terms, is the world we live in, the material world. And Ceres is the upper world. So, you know, these things all work at many, many layers. And I would invite you to tune into how they work for you. Now then, before I share the chart, and this video is not going to be very long, but I do want to go back to March the 4th, 1823. Okay, so I spent quite a lot of time searching for this, and I knew something. I knew I would find something, but when I found it, I was astounded at where it was, what degree it was at, all those kind of things like that. So before I share the chart, I will say that it's kind of my theory that the age of Aquarius began astrologically when the planet Uranus came into the astrological realm. I'm not going to use the word discovered because I've had some lovely kind flower on YouTube, on the video I did with Steve Judd on his channel, kind of going, well, the Aztecs knew about Uranus. They built temples to it, and ancients. And I've long said that ancient cultures knew about more than we know that they knew about. And I've also long said that those ancient energies are likely to come in a new way in Aquarius, because Aquarius is a mix of really the ancient and the modern, okay, in a very unusual way, which is very quirky for Aquarius. You could also say that's wave and particle. So yes, I absolutely believe that ancient cultures knew of Uranus and other planetary bodies, Ceres included. I think they knew of many of those, and a lot of these myths were built on those. We don't really know what they thought about them, though, because, you know, or how they tracked them, because you know, there's some theories out there. You can go and search it. But just let's say that, you know, our culture that thinks it knows everything, the modern Western dominator, hierarchical, empirical, materialistic culture that we are moving away from, thinks it knows everything, and I don't think we do. So, you know, I might guide that person to this video, because that's my view. I've long said that ancients knew about things. However, from the culture that we are leaving, this patriarchal, I've just described it, very linear, very rational, very dominator, very hierarchical culture. From that perspective, Uranus was discovered at 1782, and astrologically it broke open the boundaries of astrology, because up until that point, most modern astrology had only used up to Saturn planet-wise. Okay, so there you go. Oh, people are lovely on the internet. But anyway, I've long said that. Anyway, so Uranus, from the astrological perspective that most of us are steeped in, was discovered on 1782. And I think that that broke open this new paradigm and started to move us into the new paradigm that we are moving into. Do I think that it happened on that day? No, I think it just broke it open, and it's been a process. Anyway, I told you all that because I went back and searched the internets and discovered that on March the 4th, 1823, so after the discovery of Uranus from our perspective, after the discovery of Ceres from our perspective, which I also feel that the ancients knew about, and possibly, and as I said, possibly others. Oh, anyway, and as all you know, these new to us planetary bodies were being discovered, but this is before we in the modern world knew of Neptune, before we knew of Pluto. Okay, Ceres was 1801, and they did come into our consciousness as a culture now at those times. Anyway, on March the 4th, 1823, Ceres, Pluto, and Venus were all at 0 Aries. And that just blew my mind, because that Aries is a new start. Aries is a new beginning. Aries is taking us into the future. It's pioneering. It takes the lead. It's a new start, new sign, the first sign, new beginnings. So all this is astrological. And not only that, though, when I look at this chart, I'm like, really? Oh my God. This is a reverse nodal return for the United States, which roughly came into being as these new planetary bodies were discovered from our perspective, from this culture. Okay, so this is the north node of the USA is at 6 Leo. The south node of the USA is at 6 Aquarius. And this is where Mars is going retrograde. Go and look at that Fools and Lovers video. There's lots happening coming up around that 6 Aquarius, 6 Leo aspect as well. I didn't screenshot that one, but so much happening there. Okay. Also, this was in square to Saturn. Saturn is the guide for Capricorn, and we're just leaving Pluto and Capricorn years. And this was actually kind of in a square, saying, this is what is going to be established, but also what is going to be broken down. This kind of speaks to me of a reinvention, and that actually began right as the United States was being formed. But of course, this is affecting everybody. This is breaking down these old structures. This is the beginning, even though it was kind of building then what we know now. The breakdown was also, starting to occur then. It was inevitable in other words, really, that we would reach this other massive turning point right now. Okay. So in that note, I want to actually, oh, sorry. I'll have to cut that bit out. I'll actually go and put the USA's chart in. So I'm going to have to video edit that bit. Sorry about that. I shared a chart I should not have shared, and I will cut that out because that was a mistake. All right, so here's the US chart. So let's have a look what was happening when this first conjunction happened. So sorry, I've moved the US chart into the center, okay? And you can see that here was this Aries conjunction here, and it was happening right, if we use the Sibley chart, which I use because it seems to work. I know a lot of mundane astrologers do not like it, but I'm going to use it. It was right at the bottom of the chart, at the foundation of the chart. It was almost like, it was kind of founded on these principles of for everybody being equal and things, but really it was founded, it didn't work because everybody wasn't equal. It was founded for certain people. Okay, and I've maintained that we are moving into a time where we're going to have a rebirth or a reorganization, whatever you want to call it, of what it means to be the United States of America. So you can see that the South Node was where the North Node is of the USA on the founding. So that first, pretty much, I think, 1776. So that would have been 2440. Maybe it was not the first reverse nodal return. We could look at that. But they were having a reverse nodal return on that date. And let's see if there was well, the moon was right on the ascendant of this Sibley chart on that day. And so and I put it for as soon as Ceres joined Pluto and Venus in the sign of Aries. So real new start there, real new start. Hygeia was on the moon of the USA. And so, you know, that's like, you know, you need to heal. This, you think this was set up for the people, but perhaps it really kind of wasn't in some ways. So this all just adds to this turmoil and this change that the USA was in. I just want to quickly look and see if it was conjunct radix North Node. So the first, so it was exact in February. So the first reverse nodal return was 1804, and that would have been just after Ceres was born. So it's almost like the very founding was set up on these rocky foundations, and we've got to revisit it for the future. So that was that very Aries, very Martian, very doctrine of discovery, which is very Aries, with all those things in zero Aries, saying, you know, we are the pioneers. That's very Aries too. Okay, right? So, you know, you get all those kind of energies with that zero Aries conjunction, which was again right at the foundation of the chart. All righty, so let's move to December the 7th. December the 7th. So if we move it a little bit forward, okay, just, in fact, I can do when Ceres moves into Aquarius, you will see Ceres moves into Aquarius December the 7th, 4:13 a.m. Eastern, and all of these three will be at the 0 degree of Aquarius again, which has been a really potent point. Okay. And this is in the second house, if you use the Sibley chart, of who are we, our sense of self-worth, our sense of values, all those kind of things. There's a lot to the second house that is more than about how we earn our money. It's really our sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And you can see that at that time, the nodes are moving back to that 0 Aries point. The North Node will be back to 3 Aries as these three come together. We're also having the Chiron return. You know, Jupiter is coming back to station direct on the descendant of the USA, and Mars, just the day before, stationed retrograde. And Mars is the guide for Aries of things that began way back in 1823. Okay. So anyway, and Mercury, look at this. Mercury will be retrograde right on the ascendant of the USA as well. And that's ideas, revisiting for the future, if you like, you could say. And it just blows my mind, quite honestly. But of course, this is, you know, rippling out to everybody and within you as well. This is another real big step into the future, as there's others with Saturn and Neptune meet. They meet at that 0 Aries as well that we kind of looked at. So, you know, it's being rebuilt. The US is, there's just so many things. But I really kind of see this as an opportunity to integrate that maiden, mother, crone, that, you know, lower, middle, upper worlds, that mind, body, spirit, that sense of the Trinity, if you like, as well. But that could also, you know, mean, you know, the masculine, feminine, and outsiders, and the people as well, all coming together, hopefully. You know, we always have free will of how we respond to this. So how will we respond to this? Anyway, I don't want to go on and on. I think it's another pivotal moment. And I do want to read to you the symbols again for that 0 Aquarius. We'll, you know, clearly we've had so many hits on that. So I'll read them and let you kind of really think about it. But the Sabian symbol is an old Adobe mission in California, and Rudyard's keynote is the power inherent in all great human works to endure far beyond the workers' lifespans. So think of, I mentioned the Aztecs at the start about Uranus, like that, you know, their temples to Uranus, you know, and so on. Anyway, the works and spirit of the Spanish priests who directed the building of the California missions have had a lasting influence on the development of this land. These remain as a monument to the men who were able to make their mark upon this alien environment, alien to them, I have to say. And Uranus is very alien. But while the zodiacal sign of Capricorn begins with a symbol of socio-political power, Aquarius at its start presents a more spiritualized and idealistic or creative picture of the social forces at work. However, it stresses the enduring character of human achievements ensouled by a great vision, including those Aztec temples and more. At least within the frame of reference of our Western civilization, the symbol speaks of the projection of a noble ideal into concrete form of beauty and significance, thus of the radiation of a civilizing, and he does put it like this, power into an institution offering to what they saw as primitive men the opportunity to reach a higher, more organized and productive level of activity. Doesn't that sound like the patriarchy, right? The dominator culture. But anyway, he said this one symbol says it's about the concretization of an ideal. This also implies the immortalization of an individual within a great collective and cultural enterprise. And to my mind, that means going back and looking, reflecting and redoing and rewording where we want to go. Who are we in our community as a global thing, as the USA and everything, and what new, like everybody always describes America as an idea, and also, you know, the geopolitical is so complex, but where do we want to go with this? Okay, that's what that speaks to of for me, for the future. I think I'm gonna read the Chandra symbol, but you know that, I am actually gonna read the Omega symbol and the Chandra symbol for this degree. So the Aquarius one is deciding to die. A vampire walks into the sunlight. That's the Omega symbol. And John Sandbach says this degree is about sacrificing of personal desires to a higher purpose. When a way of life has worn itself out, it's time for a change. The energy of this degree is about overcoming the fear of change and letting go of old patterns. It wants to bring whatever is hidden to light and to find a way to fulfill true spiritual needs. The Chandra symbol for this degree is a two-headed calf. We all have two selves, the conscious, objective self and the unconscious or feeling self, or on another level, as Eckhart Tolle describes it, the true self and the pain body. This degree recognizes the divisions that exist within the self and in the wider scheme of things, as well as the need to acknowledge and respect all the various aspects of one's being. Whatever parts of ourselves we reject, we inevitably come into conflict with. And the only way to resolve this conflict is to reach across our inner divisions and accept every aspect of who we are. This degree carries the message that completely opposite ideas can peacefully coexist and actually have the potential to enhance and clarify each other. All righty. Okay, see you later. I'm mind blown by it all, to be quite honest. And if the person who commented, I'm going to alert her to this video. If you're open to watching this, I hope you understand that I am coming from the perspective as where we're at as a culture now, as we shift into a new paradigm. And, the Aztecs were, a whole nother culture from their perspective, as were many other ancient. And we can learn from them, of course, but right now, astrologically, this is what's happening. Peace out.